Good evening. It is 5:15 this Monday, May 8th, and the Carroll City Council is now in session. Would you all please rise and join with me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right, we have roll call, all present. Under tonight's consent agenda, I will read it briefly as follows. We have approval of the minutes of the April 24th, 23 meeting, approval of this cycle's bills and claims. We have just one new cigarette permit, and that is Antonia's Vapes. We have a fire station floor replacement, and then also report of a bid opening for 2 front mount mowers. Are there any questions or anything that would seek a motion to approve tonight's consent agenda? Someone?
So moved.
Okay,
Second.
JJ, and seconded by Misty. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Case.
Yes.
Shrek. Yes. Dirks.
Yes.
Bornero.
Yes.
Bauer.
Yes.
Seaman.
Yes.
Motion is approved.
Thank you again. Item number 4 on tonight's agenda is oral requests and communications from the audience. This is on anything that is not on tonight's agenda. Are there any members of the audience that wish to address the council at this time? No one online? Okay, we'll move forward then. Ordinances, there are no ordinances tonight. We do have several resolutions, and we'll begin first one with a fiscal year 24 health insurance renewal. And Laura?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. So this item for the health insurance renewal and the dental insurance renewal is the other resolution right below it. We'll finish all together. Since we do have Debbie Dean from the Benefit Source here with us tonight, I'll give just a quick introduction here. Our health insurance plan, what is being proposed tonight is no change in the current coverage, as Wellmark did come back to us and told us that they would not raise our premium rates for our next fiscal year, which is amazing. So what we're proposing tonight is a no increase then as well to the COBRA rate that we charge for our plans.
Debbie, do you want to address the council, please?
Thank you so much. As Laura mentioned, we really favored a very good renewal with Wellmark Blue Cross Blue Shield this year. And in addition to favoring a good renewal with Wellmark, that is in part because our claims have been lower than expected. And so our partial self-funding expenditure is also lower than what has been budgeted for. Now, we're not done with the fiscal year yet, but our projection is that it will continue to be less than what we had originally thought it would be. And so we really don't find that there is reason, given all of that plus the fund balance, to ask for an increase in the COBRA rates. It just is about as good a scenario as we get in the field of health insurance.
And then to make mention on the dental insurance, since that's the second resolution under this tonight, there was no rate increase requested or given to us from Delta Dental either. And as you recall, that is a voluntary program that employees pay 100%.
Any questions for Laura or for Debbie? Okay. I would seek, we have 2 different resolutions though. So the first one would be a resolution to approve entering the contract Wellmark for the health insurance premiums with the following deductibles and so on. So is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, so Carolyn and then Tom. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Seaman?
Yes.
Shrek? Yes. Bates?
Yes.
Dirks?
Yes.
Bornero?
Yes.
Bauer?
Yes.
Resolution is approved.
Very good, thank you. And so the next one that I would seek a motion for is approval for the resolution to enter into contract for the dental insurance offering. Is there a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Tom and JJ?
Yeah.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Bauer?
Yes.
Bates?
Yes.
Seaman?
Yes.
Dirks?
Yes.
Shrek? Yes. Bornero?
Yes.
Resolution is approved.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you too, Debbie.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming all the way up too.
Happy to do it. Thank you.
Beautiful night for that, at least. Yeah, better than last night. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we will move to item C under resolutions, and that is Adam Street reconstruction. And see, Randy is gone, so do I just hand that over to you?
Yep, that's
Okay.
fine. The first bullet point there is the Allers and Cooney engagement agreement. Essentially, they are walking us through the entire process for the voluntary assessment process, and that's kind of our agreement with them to move forward with this Adams Street project.
This is a pretty routine agreement with them, correct? And it's,
Yes, very
they've
much.
got it broken down under flat fee and expenses and so on, so. Okay, so what Aaron is seeking is a resolution to accept and approve the engagement agreement with Allers and Cooney for Adam Street. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Misty?
Second.
And Kyle?
Yep.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Seaman?
Yes.
Shrek? Yes. Bauer?
Yes.
Base?
Yes.
Dirks?
Yes.
Cornell?
Yes.
Motion is approved.
Thank you. And so the next one would be the resolution to approve the petition and waivers. That's kind of the second step, right?
Yes, we had seven residences that agreed to sign petitions and waivers to agree to the special assessment. We have those 7 documents signed in the memo that Randy presented, and so we need to accept that resolution and to move forward.
Just one question for you, Aaron.
Yes.
So if somebody else wants part of this, this is it, they can't get in it?
Correct.
Okay,
It's too late.
too late. Just want to make sure. Okay.
And so there'd be essentially we don't have copies of the agreements here, but I mean, you've got essentially 3 different agreements, one for sewer and water, one for just water, and one just for sewer. Because you've got, is that correct?
Well, each residence had an opportunity to choose.
Right,
Some of them
right.
chose sewer and water, some of them choose sewer, and one
Okay.
person chose water.
Okay, but the agreements would be essentially like, except for what's
Yep.
the scope of the project, right?
Correct.
Okay. Okay, so any other questions for Aaron? Okay, so we're looking for a consideration and approval of resolution approving the petition and waivers for the Adam Street construction project for 7 takers is essentially what we'll call that. Is there a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Tom?
Second.
And seconded Laverne, was it?
Kyle.
Oh, Kyle, sorry. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Base?
Yes.
Seaman?
Yes.
Cornell?
Yes.
Shrek? Yes. Bauer?
Yes.
Dirks?
Yes.
Resolution is approved.
Perfect. Again, thank you. And then finally, too much for me to read, but it's a resolution of necessity. For the
Yes.
why we're doing the project is essentially what it is.
Correct.
Yeah.
With the petition and waivers, this allows us to kind of add a lot of different things all in one resolution so that we can move forward again. Obviously, the resolution necessity, ordering construction of the project, approving the preliminary plat and schedule, estimate of costs, tentative approval of plans, specifications, form of contract, and final estimates. Fixing the date for the public hearing, which we'll be fixing for next council meeting, which is on the 22nd, where we will adopt the final plans. And then this will go out to bid and we'll receive bids or let bids on the 6th of June. And then the 12th of June, we will accept those bids so that we can begin construction when the contractor feels he can do that. Or she. I don't know who the contractor will be.
Okay. Okay, once again, any questions is there a question from the audience? Go ahead and approach here, Randy. We know you, but name and address for the record, please.
Record.
Yeah,
Randy Toft,
708 North Adams. So if it's let, how many days of paperwork is there before it's cleared then?
Meaning, what do you mean by it's cleared?
So it's signed and returned and ready to go. The
Once we,
construction I ever saw was 30 to 45 days.
well,
Is that
once
what
we
we're
let the
looking at?
bids, we'll have to accept the bids on the June 12th meeting, which will then sign contracts and stuff like that. And then, I'm not sure how long they have, probably 30 days to get that stuff back to us.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for Aaron? So once again, we are needing a resolution for resolution of necessity for the Adams Street construction, and then setting these public hearing dates and so on. Is there a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Tom
Second.
and JJ? Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Base,
Yes.
Bauer,
Yes.
Shrek. Yes. Dirks.
Yes.
Seaman,
Yes.
Bordenaro.
Yes.
Resolution is approved.
Thank you. Okay, item 7 under reports. We have first a fiscal year 21-22 annual financial statement audit. And Laura?
Yes,
When you-
thank you. We have our auditor, Jennifer, up here to present the audit report for our fiscal year that ended on June 30, 2022.
Hi, Jenny.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
We have no new members of the council, so we've been here, we've done this, but I will tell you what I did and then whether you have any questions. Feldman and Company audited the accompanying financial statements of the government activities, the business type activities, each major fund, and the aggregate remaining fund of the information to the city of Carroll, Iowa, as of and for the year ended June 30th of 22, and the related notes to the financial statements which collectively comprise the city's basic financial statements as listed in the table of contents. Management is responsible for the preparation and fair presentation of these financial statements in accordance with the cash basis of accounting as described in Note 1. This includes determining cash basis of accounting as an acceptable basis for the preparation of financial statements in the circumstances. This includes design, implementation, maintenance of internal control relevant to the preparation and fair presentation of the financial statements that are free of material misstatement, whether due from fraud or error. Our responsibility is to express an opinion on these financial statements based on our audit. We conducted the audit in accordance with U.S. generally accepted auditing standards, the standards applicable to financial audits contained in government auditing standards issued by the Comptroller General of the United States. These standards require that we plan and perform the audit to obtain reasonable assurance about whether or not the financial statements are free from material misstatement. An audit involves performing procedures to obtain audit evidence about the amounts and disclosures in the financial statements. The procedures selected depend on the auditor's judgment, including the assessment of the risk of materials misstatement in the financial statements, whether due to fraud or error. In making those risk assessments, the auditor considers the internal control relevant to the city's preparation and fair presentation of the financial statements in order to design audit procedures that are appropriate in the circumstances, but not for the purpose of expressing an opinion on the effectiveness of the city's internal control. Accordingly, we express no such opinion. An audit also includes evaluating the appropriateness of the accounting policies used and the reasonableness of the significant accounting estimates made by management, as well as evaluating the overall presentation of the financial statements. We believe that the audit evidence that we have obtained is sufficient and appropriate to provide a basis for our audit opinions. In our opinion, the financial statements referred to above present fairly in all material respects. The respective cash basis financial position of the government activities, the business type activities, each major fund, and the aggregate remaining fund information of the city of Carroll at June 30th, 22, and the respective changes in cash basis financial position for the year then ended in accordance with the basis of accounting described in Note 1. As described in Note 1, these financial statements were prepared on a basis of cash receipts and disbursements which is a basis of accounting other than generally accepted accounting principles, and our opinions are not modified with respect to this matter. Our audit was conducted for the purpose of forming opinions on the financial statements that collectively comprise the City of Carroll's basic financial statements. We previously audited in accordance with the standards referred to in the third paragraph of this report, the financial statements for the 24 years ending June 30th, 2021, which are not presented herein, and expressed unmodified opinions on those statements which were prepared on the basis of cash receipts and disbursements. The supplementary information included in Schedules 1 through 6 is presented for additional analysis as not a required part of the basic financial statements. The supplementary information is the responsibility of the management and was derived from and relates directly to the underlying accounting and other records used to prepare the basic financial statements. Such information has been subjected to the auditing procedures applied in the audit of the basic financial statements and certain additional procedures, including comparing and reconciling such information directly to the underlying accounting and other records used to prepare the basic financial statement or the financial statements themselves, and other additional procedures in accordance with U.S. generally accepted auditing standards. In our opinion, the supplemental information is fairly stated in all material respects in relation to the basic financial statements taken as a whole. The other information, management's discussion and analysis, the budget comparison information, the schedule of the city's proportionate share of net pension liability, and the schedule of the city's contributions on page 50 to 52 and 53 through 60 has not been subjected to an auditing procedures applied in the audit of the financial statements, and accordingly, we do not express an opinion or provide any assurance on it. In accordance with government auditing standards, we also issued our report dated November 9th, 2022, on our consideration of City of Carroll's internal control over financial audit or reporting and our test of its compliance with certain provisions of Iowa laws, contracts, grant agreements, and other matters. The purpose of that report is solely to describe the scope of our testing of internal control over financial reporting and compliance and the results of that testing, not to provide an opinion on the effectiveness of the city's internal control over financial reporting on compliance. That report is an integral part of this audit performed in accordance with the government auditing standards in considering the City of Carroll's internal control over financial reporting and compliance. Management's discussion and analysis. The financial highlights on page 8. The city financial receipts increased by 24.3%, or approximately $3.6 million from 2021. The main reason of the increase of $3,419,000 of debt was issued in 22, where there was no debt issued in 21. Disbursements of the city's government activities also increased by $4,987,000, or about 34.9%. From 21, debt service and capital projects disbursements are the main reasons for that increase. The city's total cash net position increased about 5%, or approximately $1,218,000 from June of 21 to June of 22. Of this amount, the cash basis net position of the government activities decreased approximately $75,000, and the cash basis net position of the business type activities increased approximately $1,293,000. And I'm sure that you have read and should read the remainder of the management analysis. We will skip ahead to page 18 and 19, which is the Exhibit A. That is the net position of the City of Carroll. First thing that we do is we list the expenses, just the opposite of what, normal businesses. They go, here's the income, here's the cash, this is what we made. Government is not out to make money, they are out to provide services. So we start with the expenses. We have public safety program, public works program, health and human and social services, culture and recreation, community economic development, government, general government, debt service, and capital projects, and list the expenses thereon. Then we show the charges for those services. We show the operating grants and contributions directly related to those services, and whether or not there were any capital grants or restricted interest due for those services. And we show the net disbursements over receipts in the government section. Then we show the business type activities, again, showing the expenses first, water, sewer, and stormwater. And then show the charges for the services. We have a little bit of interest, and we show that the business type activities show a net receipts over disbursements. Then we show the general receipts to make up the difference in the governmental. That includes the property taxes, either the general purpose or the debt service tax, increment financing, property tax replacement, hotel motel tax, the local option sales tax, the franchise fees, any investment earnings, bond proceeds, miscellaneous, and then transfers between funds. And that shows you then on page 19, the $70,870 of change in the government activities and the $1,293,000 increase in the business activities to show a balance on the government of $15,500,000 and the balance on the business $10,140,000 for a total budget or a balance on the city of $25,651. Schedule B on page 2021 is the specifics for the government funds. These are the major funds. General is always major. That's the first one. Road tax, local option sales tax, debt service and capital projects, and then everything else and the totals thereon. On page 2425 is the business or proprietary funds. We show the water, the sewer, the stormwater, then we lump sum all the other non-major, we show the total, and then we show the internal service, which is the employee health insurance. Notes are important, please read those. And if we skip back to '62 and '63 is Schedule 1. Those are the non-major general government funds. That includes employee benefits, urban renewal, Westfield urban renewal, Ashwood urban renewal, recreation trust, are the ARPA funds, police forfeiture, crime prevention, library, also permanent funds of cemetery and rec center trust, and shows you those totals. Those totals on Schedule 1 were reported on the Exhibit B under the government. So here's the balance of the information that you saw under the, here's the wrap up. Schedule 2 is similar. This is the proprietary funds and schedule are on page 64 and 65. We have water depreciation, we have stormwater capital improvements, we have the water meter deposit fund, we have sewer depreciation, we have sewer capital improvement fund and water capital improvement funds, with the totals on Schedule 2 being shown on Exhibit D for the proprietary. Schedule 3 is a schedule of the indebtedness, where we started the year, how much we issued, how much we redeemed, and what our balance is. And of course, you'll see on page 87, we started with $8,627,000 worth of debt, issued $3,325,000, but paid off $501,149, so you're down to $6,803 of debt at the end of last year. Schedule 4 on the next page shows you the scheduling and maturities of the debt that was outstanding at that time. Schedule 5 is the capital projects. So here you will see what was brought in and what was spent on the city rehabilitation, city hall, city maintenance building, housing fund, the corridor of commerce, airport, parks and recreation, equipment purchase, and building improvements for the rec center. Schedule 6 is an informational showing you these receipts and disbursements side by side for the last 10 years, just for informational sake. Independent report of internal control, we've already said we don't issue a report thereon, except that we looked at it. We're not issue an opinion on it. We have unmodified opinions that were issued on the financial statements that were prepared on the cash basis of receipts and disbursements, a comprehensive basis of accounting other than the U.S. generally accepted accounting principles. This audit did not disclose any non-compliance, which is material to the financial statements. We noted no matters for notation in internal control. We noted no matters in compliance. And then we have the state mandated findings and question cost. We had to check the official depositories, which are fine, the certified budget, which was fine. It did not exceed, the disbursements did not exceed any of the amounts budgeted for 2022. Very rare. Travel expenses, no problems there. Business expenses, business transactions between the city and city officials are detailed as follows. And this is prior. For Haley Implement, and according to the Code of Iowa, transactions for parts and repair are not a conflict of interest since the transactions were less than $6,000 a year. The transaction for the skid loader in the amount of $61,000 is not a conflict of interest because it went through the competitive bidding process. No problem. Excess balance. There are balances in the special revenue funds, federal funds, road use tax, rec center trust, library trust, police forfeiture, crime prevention special account that were in excess of the disbursements for those years for the, okay? And for the capital projects, corridor of commerce, the street rehabilitation, rec center building, parks and recreation, water depreciation, water meter deposit, sewer utility depreciation, sewer utility capital improvement, stormwater and utility and stormwater capital funds. The idea is that you should not hold in balance more than what you expend in a year's time. However, for capital projects, that's hard to do. We have obligations to pay out those funds in another year. But in rec center trust and things of that nature, that's also hard to do because it's in trust. It's a fiduciary fund. Road use tax, again, we have a project in hand. And so we are, but as long as we have a major region, as I recommended, consider the necessity for maintaining these substantial balances, and where financially feasible, consider reducing the balance in an orderly manner through revenue reductions. However, the response given to me was that they're needed for future plans and projects, and that's what it's there for. Bond coverage, I found no problems with that. No transactions were found in the minutes that needed to be in the minutes but weren't. We did note, however, in regard to the airport minutes, that they were not signed timely and the roll call votes were not coherent as to who was attending and who voted what. In the library minutes, it was, there again, they did not tell me who was attending and who was absent. And in the section allowing closed session, it was not provided, the code section. So we have to educate those two other boards, which are city boards, how to record their minutes. Bonds and notes, we noted no instances of noncompliance with your terms. Financial position, we have noticed a deficit balance in the library of about $5,000. Again, we suggested alternatives to eliminate the deficit, and it's only due because of a timing difference. There's a funding agreement with the county, and that hadn't occurred yet by end of the year. Tax increment financing. According to chapters 403.19 and 403.22, you can provide the municipality to certify loans, advances, indebtedness bonds to the county auditor to qualify for reimbursement for the incremental tax submitted during the 2022 year. All that was done according to it was all completed timely and accurately. We didn't find any problems with that. Urban Renewal Annual Report, there again, it was certified and approved prior to the due date. We had question costs, question donations. This has been a pet peeve of the Attorney General, as we've noted before. Article 3, Section 31 of Iowa Constitution prohibits that government bodies make a gift to private nonprofit or corporations, stating that no public money or property shall be appropriated for local or private purposes. Attorney's General opinion dated April 27 or 25 of 79 and at least 5 more official AG opinions have consistently concluded a government body may not donate public funds to a public or private entity, even if the entity is established for charitable education purposes and performs work which the government could perform directly. The opinion further states that even if the function is a private nonprofit corporation that fits in the scope of activities generally recognized as serving public purposes, the critical question exists regarding whether federal funds or property transferred to a public entity will be needed to be used for those public purposes. And it goes on for additional background. What we noted was that the Carroll Area Child Care Center was given $17,000, Animal Rescue $5,000, Carroll County Community Concern $5,450, New Opportunity $10,920, RSVP $12,005, Carroll Area Development Corp $77,250. And then according to the opinions, it's possible that certain disbursements meet the test of public opinion under certain circumstances. However, such items certainly need to be subject to deserved close scrutiny. The line drawn between proper and improper purpose is very thin. We are not aware of any statutory authority for the city to donate public funds to private organizations and should cease immediately making such future donations. The response was that we believe that these disbursements do meet the requirements of public purpose as defined by the Attorney General's opinion and will document the public purpose served by these disbursements. And the agreements for the fiscal year 2023 funding were entered into by October 1st of 2022. So you've restructured how you're giving in the money. And that's up between you and the Attorney General, whether that's proper or not. That's the end of my report. Any questions?
Well, that's every city in the state now.
Pretty much,
Yeah.
pretty much. Some of them have quit, just point blank are not gonna give out the money anymore. Seriously. Then there are those that have made detailed what that committee or whatever that fund is doing on behalf of the city and why it isn't, you know, just dotting your i's and crossing your t's and saying, yes, this is a public purpose.
Jenny, you mentioned in here that maybe it would be good to establish written policies and procedures, but where we're at right now, not a whole lot of disbursements. Staff feels that what we're doing now, that do we write out formally the public purpose, Laura, or?
In our agreements, yes, we do.
In our agreements with them, we do.
Yeah, you do
And
now.
and that's adequate.
Correct.
Okay. So no need to,
I'm not an attorney, so I won't comment.
oh, okay, that's fine.
I'm just following the rules that the auditor tells me to, you know,
Right, oh, yeah.
and to do,
yeah.
so,
I just
yeah.
wondered, because it says if we continue, it might be a good idea to
yeah,
establish policies.
that
maybe
say,
to
hey,
give
this is
our
why.
Rationale.
Right,
Okay.
definitely,
Okay,
definitely. Going forward, you should have it listed, why it's okay.
Will we
okay,
still get dinged?
If you say it's public purpose and this is your analogy and why, you shouldn't.
So it's a little bit, that's our story and we're sticking to it. It's essentially
Yeah.
what it is,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah,
That's everybody in the state.
Right. And it is a thin line, but,
well, it's public scrutiny.
right,
Why do they get it and somebody else doesn't?
yeah. That's why we take these jobs.
Right.
Okay, any other questions for Jenny? Very thorough, thank you very, very much. I actually kind of half understood it this year, so.
And I have to, I have
That's
to
it.
tell you, I appreciate your letter explaining TIF. I gave it to
Oh.
all my staff.
Oh,
accountants,
did it
too.
help? Yeah,
Because they read what the state gives them and they're going, huh?
Well, I'm a simpleton, so
Yes, you did put it down there.
I can only explain
Yeah.
the way I understand, so.
Right, and
But anyways,
you
thank
did a
you.
good job.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Any other questions for Jenny before we let her loose? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
But we still need the councils to approve the
Accept the
audit, to
report.
accept the report.
Yes.
Not so much a resolution, but just to accept the
Yep,
report.
yep,
Yep.
if we could.
Is there a motion to that effect? Thanks again, Jenny.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Bordenaro?
Yes.
Dirk?
Yes.
Bates?
Yes.
Bauer?
Yes.
Seaman?
Yes.
Shrek? Yes. Motion is approved.
Perfect, thank you. Okay, item 7B is street closure for Ragbri. And Brad,
Thank you,
you're the
Mayor.
next contestant.
I am. I think Laura's gonna put up the map here once she gets, there you go. So this is going to be the request for the street closure area for the Ragbri event, which will be held on July 24th. And the plan is to close this area down at 6 AM, open it back up on Tuesday, the 25th by 5 AM. It'll probably be open much earlier than that. There is some manipulating, I guess, of the streets that day. We're gonna try to help some of the businesses in that location stay open best we can to a certain point, and then close those down. Mike Franny and Linda Dukes Franny are here too to answer any questions. They're on the Ragbri Executive Committee, and they are the ones that are planning all the events in this area within the red. And the idea will be to close pretty much that entire space down for different events on different roads, vendors. The main attraction will be in front of the chamber on the night of the 24th, and there's also gonna be some activities in front of Kirps and the Moose and the brewery earlier in the day on the 24th also. So the list is fairly extensive here. If you want me to read them off to you, I certainly can, but the request will be to close these streets down and then open them back up on July 25th with the help of the street department that day also. But if you have any questions, these are your pros with the Ragbri Executive Committee. They've been sitting through all the meetings, and they have some answers that you may have if you're looking for any.
I do have some questions if you want to go up. So the band, in front of Curps, the band's going to start earlier in the day? Is
That
that
is correct. That'll be kind of a daytime entertainment area in between Curbs and the brewery. They've operated that way before, so they're kind of helping me figure that out, but that section will be kind of daytime music. We also will have a DJ in the area, and then in the evening, the main acts, there'll be 3 bands that play down by the chamber stage.
Okay, so when is the one by Curps shutting down?
5:30, because we really want to hustle the crew down to the main
So that
event area.
street's still going to be stayed closed until the morning,
I think-
regardless if they're shut down?
Yeah, because we'll also have vendors in those areas that will be supplying food and drink and opportunity for people who aren't necessarily going to the concert.
Okay.
Those 3 bars down there also are making adjustments to their liquor license for outdoor sales and service. So once the band is over, they'll still be able to access that, which we will be thankful for at 11:30 when the band closes. During the last event, we had to close Highway 30 down for quite some time while people spilled out of the bars because there was no room. So this will definitely help with that too after the main event closes down.
That's the only question I had.
Well, that was easy.
Something I did forget to mention, and it's not on the map, there will be a trailer for showers on 12th Street in front of Swan Place. This was similar to last year. It'll park right in the middle of the road, but it's a dead end, so that officially will be closed also. Just past the entrance to Swan Place, I believe is how it's set up. So that way they have access to the sewer and the water in that location with the trailer.
I think what's really helpful is, again, you didn't name all of the streets there, there's 7 or 8 of them, but I think for people to kind of generally understand, the closures are south of 30. I mean, there's really nothing closed north of 30. So everybody's got free access. I think it's well designed, quite frankly.
I could see this being a benefit of having this picture in the paper earlier. You know, instead of naming all the streets, you can just look at this and see it.
Yeah, upon approval, it will be, on our Carroll Regbrag website. It'll be on our social medias, radio, digital, print, all of the, areas where we feed out information to. So everybody will have access to that.
And we did, the chamber did provide me with some letters too that we'll be sending out to the businesses that are affected that show the area once approved. So we'll send out that to all the businesses that we are affecting.
Any other questions for these guys?
Have you gotten any feedback from people? I mean, it looks good to me. We're gonna have a huge crowd, but any feedback, positive, negative,
Of course, both.
both?
Yeah.
But overall, I mean.
Overall, mostly positive, or willing to just say it's one day. I mean,
Oh,
I've
yeah.
only, honestly, I've gone door to door, honestly, myself, or called business owners
So,
to ask them what their plans are for the day. So I've had one negative, flat out negative report, but I'm trying to work with that business to find a solution for
Sure.
their,
I don't envy you doing this. This is tough. But I like how you're staggering the times to, like you said, move people
Move people,
along.
yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Well, with the 50th year of Ragbri, we're expecting quite a few more people than we
Yeah.
had in 2011. So we need multiple areas to
Oh,
to
yeah.
help Brad and his crew out, and not to, so everybody can enjoy themselves. And in 2011, our vendors that suffered, that were east of Commercial Bank, which wasn't there then, but so we're trying to make it so that the vendors that we invite to feed our friends, that they have a good day too.
Yeah. Thank you.
Any other questions? I have none.
I just say too, I thank, Chad, Laverne's been in a lot of meetings, Aaron, the mayor, Misty, certainly Brad and Laura. There's, and the citizens of Carroll who have volunteered their time already, and we're just, we just got her started. So, it's gonna be a great time, a great day, and it's gonna be, showcase Carroll, so.
You're doing all the work.
this is my lovely assistant.
Yes, he is. Yeah. Very, very lovely. Okay, so what we're seeking then would be any further discussion but approval of the street closures as presented. Is there a motion to that effect?
So moved.
I think it was a tie, Laverne and, was it Tom? Okay. Okay. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Shrek? Yes. Seaman?
Yes.
Bauer?
Yes.
Cordero?
Yes.
Base?
Yes.
Dirks?
Yes.
Motion's approved.
Thank you. Thanks again, you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Another street closure, this for a different reason, Brad. Street closure for chamber night shift.
Yep, one more street closure tonight. This will be a request to close 4th Street on August 9th from up until about 7 p.m. is the request that came from Keely Young. She's the owner of Relief Bar and Yoga, and it's a fairly newer business on 4th Street. They're going to be hosting the chamber night shift event, and as you read in her request, they want to showcase the Thomas Plaza area by having events and different activities outside during this event that night. So her request will be to close it that day. We'll work with the street department on how we coordinate this. We'll probably have to close off parking stalls around 6 a.m. So there'll be no parking on 4th Street in that location. Otherwise, at 3 o'clock, we'll be fighting to get cars out of there to get the street closure. So we'll probably close the parking spaces, or maybe just even close the street about 6 a.m. to keep cars from parking on there, and then we'll open up as soon as the event's over. But they're believing it'll be over by 7, no later than 7 p.m. that night. We'll leave the parking lot open. That's across the street, so there's still ample parking in that location for any of those businesses down there.
Brad, do you know she's talked to the other businesses down there?
She has. I don't know exactly which ones, but I know that she's partnering up with a few of them down there that are excited to have the event there too. They want to kind of showcase what they have in that location and get people out in attendance.
Okay.
Very good. And just for 4 hours there, so, okay.
Yeah, we'll coordinate that. We may not have to close it at 6 AM, just so we can keep cars parked out of there, or blocking off parking stalls, but we'll coordinate that through the street department to get that kind of figured out that day. So I guess the request would be just to close it for the entire day that day, and if we end up leaving it open, then better off, and if we have to close it early, then we've already got that accomplished.
Okay. I can't, about how many businesses are on that block? 6?
Yeah, I would guess half dozen to 10.
Yeah, okay. All right. So what we're seeking then is the approval of the street closure for the night of, for 4th Street between Adams and Carroll on August 9th. Is there a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Tom and JJ, any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Seaman?
Yes.
Dirks?
Yes.
Base?
Yes.
Bauer?
Yes.
Cordero?
Yes.
Schreck? Yes. Motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brad. Okay, so then we are moving down to item 7D, and that is report of golf cart bid opening. Chad?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. April 27th, we received 4 bids for replacement of golf carts. We currently have 30. All 30 of them will be traded in. We are getting 35 new. That'll just help with overall amount of play on our course. That'll cut down on the amount total that we have to lease for larger tournaments. Everything in our numbers reflect that having those increase in carts will help. The lowest responsive bid was from Miller and Sons Golf Carts for some 2023 Easy Goes. Unit price of $171,000. Trade-in amount at $108,000. The 5 additional carts that were bid were $28,500 for a net total of $91,500. So breaking that down, that comes down to about $2,100 per cart after trade-in. So it's a lot lower than we expected, and Miller's has let us know that these 23s are on the lot already, pending approval here. It's about 2, maybe 3 weeks out from when they would be delivered. Whereas you order 2024s for the upcoming season, it's probably a year and some change out. So nice that they have them on hand. They just got them in. They're all still sparkly, so be good to go.
And this was I forgot to ask you, but this is a fiscal 24.
Correct. This
So
is
would it be after
fiscal
July 1st?
24. We have talked to Miller's, and they are completely fine with receiving the money after July 1st.
Oh, so they'll deliver them,
They'll still deliver them. Yep.
wow. Can't beat that deal.
Nope.
I was at the Park and Rec Board when this was being discussed, and they pretty well asked Chad a whole bunch of questions, because there was more than just this bid and that, and they hammered him pretty good. And so I'm pretty well for it because of what the Park and Rec Board did, a lot of homework on it.
And it was budgeted, so I
Yep,
mean,
correct.
you know, if anybody had a problem with it, it would have been back then, so. So, what you need is a approval of the council to go ahead with, complete the purchase.
Correct.
Of the 35 golf carts in the amount of $91,500, is that correct?
Correct.
Is there a motion?
So moved. Second.
Was it Kyle and
Yep.
then Tom? Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Base?
Yes.
Seaman?
Yes.
Dirks?
Yes.
Schreck? Yes. Bauer?
Yes.
Cordero?
Yes.
Thank you.
Motion's approved.
Very good, thank you. Okay, so next is set the public hearing date for the fiscal year 22-23 budget amendment, second budget amendment, and Laura.
Yes, thank you, Mark. So as you all are aware that you've been through a couple of budgeting processes, we put this budget together a long time ago, and there's been changes since then. Actually, so after reviewing where we're at currently in our current fiscal year 23, comparing our budget to what we re-estimated with our 23 numbers when we prepared our 24 numbers, what's presented here are the items that were higher, our re-estimates were higher than our budget. The only things that were included in here are transfers from one fund to another based upon activities of a lot of them have to do with capital projects and how we're planning on funding some capital projects. So if all the departments, and they now have their marching orders, is to stay within the re-estimates, then all the other department areas we should not have to amend for. So what's presented tonight are just the transfers that were above what we had originally budgeted. Are there any particular questions about any one of those items? If not, I'm seeking a motion to set our next council meeting on May 22nd as the date of the public hearing.
I have no questions. Do you have any questions for her? So we just need a motion to set the public hearing date, correct?
Correct,
For May 22nd.
yes.
So moved.
Second.
Carolyn and then Tom. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Bauer?
Yes.
Bornero?
Yes.
Shrek? Yes. Seaman?
Yes.
Space?
Yes.
Dirks?
Yes.
Motion is approved.
Good. Okay, are we at the end of the business? Okay, oh, no, not quite yet. Okay, committee reports, just put it on ice. Comments from the mayor, I have none. Comments from the city council, Laverne, I believe you have something?
Yeah, I'm up for election this fall, so with all the people that have been asking me to run again, I guess I'm gonna try it one more time.
Short and sweet.
Short and sweet.
Any other comments from the council? How about from the city manager?
We did have a discussion regarding housing here this last week. We've got a few marching orders, working on some more information. We'll try and get back to the committee to discuss some of those here later this week, and then hopefully have more for the council to address in the near future.
Got it?
That's it.
Okay. Okay, so
Did you
now,
want me to talk more?
no, I think we're fine. Now I would seek an order to, a motion to adjourn. Tom,
Yes.
Second.
seconded by Kyle. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Shrek? Yes. Bauer?
Yes.
Space?
Yes.
Seaman?
Yes.
Dirks?
Yes.
Bornero?
Yes.